Good afternoon, everybody. You're an amazing crowd. I am very pleased to be here today. Thank you to Emily for that warm introduction. For anybody who doesn't know who Odin is, let me just give you a very brief description about our professional network. We are a combined network of about 110 agencies of employment service providers, all in the business of helping people who have a disability find meaningful employment. We also work with corporations, large, medium, and small, to help them understand what disability in the workplace can look like, to help them gain confidence and build internal capacity so that they can attract, hire, and onboard confidently people who have a disability. So today I'm here to tell you a little bit about the experience of the CNE working with Odin to reach a very impressive goal of hiring 20% of the workforce to be comprised of people who have a disability. So I am not here to speak for the CNE experience from the CNE's point of view, but I wanted to give you a little bit of what has happened in the last 2 years and how they have come to reach this very impressive goal. Employment. All people can work. All people should work if that's what they desire to do. And it all begins with raising expectations for everybody involved in the life of a person who has a disability. I happen to be the mother to a son who has Down syndrome, who is 8 years old. And my expectations of him are those as though would be of his peers, that he will be included in all aspects of academics, reading, writing, mathematics, all the important stuff that you and I need to navigate our world. I raise the expectations for him, and I raise the expectations for his teachers to see him as capable and competent. We need to start seeing abilities, not deficits. Seeing people not as recipients, but rather as contributors to our communities. If you're dealing with an agency and they're helping you to find employment, they should be helping you build the skills that employers are looking for. Being dependable, motivated, being reliable, had to be a team player. What contribution do you bring based on the skills that you have? Okay. I want to show you 2 videos. The first one is Jaden Lake. You may have seen this video before. He's a 19-year-old youth in this video, and he is doing a co-op volunteer work at his school in a library. This is a video that we show service providers and school boards when we're talking about seeing abilities. Hopefully you can see the ability in him too. Can you put the video up a little, the volume up a little bit?
He's not just fast, he's accurate. He's Jaden has autism. He was diagnosed when he was 2, now 19. He volunteers at the school library in Edmonton. Although he's nonverbal, he
job. Pretty good? With the right supports, with the right match to the job, right fit, he could be seen as a contributor, right? I want to show you a video of Jaden 2 years prior to that. Jaden is a little younger and is in a situation where he's feeling a little anxious. Okay? Can you put the volume just a little bit? Of time, I'm going to stop it. But you can see that if a service provider, a teacher, an employer would have seen Jaden at the age of 17, they would have not considered him employable. They would have not given him a chance. What happens? What is the magic between Jaden at 17 and Jaden at 19? It's seeing abilities, setting expectations, and working a path so that he can have those co-op opportunities, those summer job opportunities to build his employment skills. This is where we go back to the idea of seeing abilities. And I know that you can read, but I'm just going to read this out loud for you. This is Carol Glazer, CEO and President of the National Organization on Disability, an organization in the United States. And she wrote an article. She has a son who has Down syndrome. And this is what she calls the tyranny of low expectations. Those who said the early expectations for people with disabilities, parents, school administrators, employers, and caregivers usually have the best of intentions. Nevertheless, many unwillingly engage in the tyranny of low expectations, seeing deficits, not abilities, not strengths, disability, not ability. And people with disabilities pick up on those messages. When the world doesn't expect much of you, it is hard to expect much of yourself. It is hard to believe in yourself when others don't. I have an 8-year-old who knows exactly what I expect of him. And because I do have high expectations for him, most of the times he meets those expectations. So how do we get to a place where we have an organization like the CNE who's hiring 20% of the workforce to be people who have a disability? There is a tremendous opportunity for the disability community right now, and that is called labor shortage. There is an opportunity on the rise. The Conference Board of Canada has indicated in the early 2000s, indicated that by the year 2020, we would be shortage. There will be a shortage of workers of about 1 million. That's a drop in the GDP close to 1.3%, or $200 billion of goods, products, and services that are not being produced because there's not enough work to do the work, not enough people to do the work. And it doesn't matter what the type of employment we're talking about, skill or unskill. There is a very large shortage of employers, of good employees, to do the work that needs to get done This is an opportunity for the disability community. This is an opportunity to understand that we need to prepare people who have a disability to come in and be seen as the solution providers. When we go into networking and business meetings, the number one challenge that most employers are talking about is labor. How to engage employees, how to keep good employees, and how to attract employees who are reliable, motivated, and dependable. I'll give you the business case of two organizations, two corporations who have come to Odin. We did not go looking for these businesses. They came to us and said, we have heard that you deal with labor shortage problems and we want to see solutions. Rockwell in Milton is an international manufacturer of insulation. 300 people in this facility in Milton. And for the last year, we've been working with them to incorporate and integrate 6 employees who have developmental disabilities and are deaf in their production line, making more than $20 an hour, full unionized jobs. Businesses understand that when you do the fit properly, and when you have supports within the community, it works. They are preparing to do their second round of another interview of 5 or 6 employees, potential candidates for employment at the beginning of 2019. Funny story for you is that they've been interviewing and putting job fairs to try and attract talent within the community in Milton. They tell us that when they put out job fairs for the regular population, nobody shows up for their interviews. When we do interviews through the disability community, there's always 2 or 3 more people that show up because they heard from somebody else, that they're conducting interviews. And they know that they're an inclusive employer. The second business I want to talk to you about is there in Cambridge. In 2017, they hired 7 employees who came from the disability community, developmental disabilities. Their performance has been lower turnover, lower absenteeism, and savings of close to $200,000 in the first 9 months due to people not calling in sick, people not calling in missing work. And I'm not trying to sell people who have a disability as superhumans. But what I'm saying is that in the industries we have been going to work, when they do the proper fit and they prepare and companies are prepared properly to integrate and include employees who have a disability, it works. We're now looking at 10 hires in South Carolina and 3 more in Cambridge. So there is a demand. There is a demand for talent. We all have a responsibility to prepare our youth with disabilities to provide the supply. And here are a couple of examples of programs that agencies are incorporated in their program roster to help youth and people who have a disability prepare. Summer Employment Transitions, it's a program that you may find in some of your local communities where you have youth who have a disability coming in to do a summer job, and youth who do not have a disability are employed by the agency as their job coaches. The beautiful thing about this program is that it's a peer-to-peer program. You don't have an old job coach person with you, you have a peer working alongside with you. In some of the programs, in some of the employment situations we have seen, the youth who has the disability is getting paid more than the job coach. And in some of these programs, those students who have come to be the job coaches in a few years become the business operators in your community. And they're much, much comfortable working with a youth with somebody who has a disability because during their summers, they were exposed to somebody who was seen as a contributor. Another program out there is Job Path, which you can apply for whether you have been in school or you're out of school. A 6-week pre-employment program to help you understand what are the skills that employers are looking for. Again, the dependability, being reliable, motivated, being on time, knowing how to balance your budget You know, it's one of these things, we don't talk to our children who have a disability about budgeting, about the things that they will do once they have a pay stub. Okay? So this brings us back to the thing or the case of the CNE. The Canadian National Exhibition, one of the largest fairs in Canada, has over 1.6 million visitors each year. And in 2016, they decided that they wanted to reflect the community that they were serving and put as a goal to have between 18 to 20% of the workforce comprised of people who have a disability. They hire 600 youth during the 18-day summer jobs. And another 600 come from the suppliers, the North America Midways, as anybody that has visited their food court will know, or the rides, the operators for the rides. So the opportunity is for more than 1,200 jobs to be up for grabs, and they're doing everything they can to incorporate 20% of the workforce comprised of people who have a disability. They engaged Odin to try and understand how they can do that and create a framework. And we have helped them in understanding that their goals have to be very intentional. You're not just plugging people into jobs. You're creating an environment where people feel comfortable disclosing that they have a disability, disclosing that they require accommodations and adjustments, and for that organization knowing how to accommodate for those requirements. We worked with 6 organizations at the beginning, 5 at the beginning in year 1. We're up to 8 organizations or agencies in year 2. This is a 5-year program, and here are the results so far. Oh, sorry. Some of the successful things that you need to do to try and be part of that business case is understand that the CNE has customer service as their #1 skill. Somebody who has to be respectful, friendly, willing to help. Match the job to the skills. Working at the Super Dogs, if you know the CNE, working at the Super Dogs doesn't mean that you're going to be working with dogs. It means that you're the security person ensuring that the dogs are not hurting anybody. So understand the job requirements. Look for positions that match your skills. Okay? And before you go into work at the CNE or you go into work into any organization or company, please understand what the company does. Do some homework. I'll share a funny story with you. I showed up for our first meeting with the Canadian National Exhibition on year 1, and they say, "So you know the CNE?" I said, "No." And they're like, "You're going to help us create an inclusive environment and you've never been here?" I said, "I'm going to take a tour right now." And I visited the CNE that summer to understand better what I was doing for them. Okay? And so this is no different than any other work situation. Understand the company, understand what their requirements are, and get help to see how you can bring your skills to that level. The results for the CNE have been that they're hiring exactly what they wanted to do, which is 18% after year 2, which is amazing. That's not a cap. They're not capping that number. They'll continue to hire as many people who have a disability as it matches the jobs. They have a very successful returning rate of over 70%, which matches very well what they do with people who do not have a disability. But the number that I want to call your attention to is the number of employees who are self-disclosing. It's the last line on that table. They do a diversity survey, which is anonymous. You don't have to tell them who you are. But they're asking, as part of their diversity goals, to see who in their workforce has a disability and self-discloses. In year 1, they had 58 people who felt comfortable saying yes. Look at the number in year 2, 155. That speaks volumes to the culture that they're creating. People are feeling comfortable coming forward and saying, "I need this in order to do my job well." And that's what I have to say. I think I am a little bit ahead of time, and I could take questions if you had any.
Okay, I'm a mother of 26-year-old with ASD, graduated with a certificate in graphic design. For almost 1 year, we've been looking for a job. And from one employment agency to another one, he finishes interview skills, employment skills. Then he's sent to a company. It doesn't last because no on-the-job training, okay? 6 weeks of training, pre-employment training, is down the drain. So why are not all agencies who accept SD, young men or women, after training, why don't they support them? Okay, then next time, when we apply to another agency, then similar agencies, they tell us, oh, as this, we can train him, employment training, but we don't support him on the job. So agencies are varying from one to another one. And there is no one place, shopping place for agencies. Unless we go and try and fail. We don't know as parents or as people with disabilities. So where is that one spot shopping, okay, where we get all the information which fits that person? Sorry.
So I don't have the full answers for you, but what I could give is my advice. We shop for phones, we shop for houses, we shop for all kinds of different things. You should do your shopping around for agencies too, right? So the first thing I would look for would be that job coaching aspect, right? You want to have the ability to have somebody who can provide support beyond the first few weeks of onboarding, and also for an agency that's providing support to the business. Because what we often forget is that as service providers, you are my client and the business is my client. I need to support him just as much as I support the supervisor who may not have ever met a person who has a disability in his life. So, and you've got a room full of agencies in here who you should be going around and asking the same question that you just asked. Right.
Here, which I got the information. I got internet information.
Yep.
But there are parents. Okay. I know a lot of parents who are going through this. Okay. Then they spend so much energy, time from workplace, looking, not having the right place, the right spot for, like, we cannot go on Google and say, find this. Okay. Most of the time, it is hit and miss. Okay, I'm not just talking for myself because I'm here to shop around.
Yep.
But there are people who don't have the information.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that is something that it's great to be vocalizing. And I'm receiving your voice and what you're saying to me and taking it back to Odin. We work also with families and advocacy for families at the government level just to help them understand those people who are making the decisions, understand what the challenges of families are. And all I can do is bring that voice back. But I appreciate what you're saying because I myself am a mother too, who's going to be in the same situation as you are in a few years. Great. Thank you very much for your attention.